raising our voices every time and saying, oh, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. Because, see, it is very easy to say that things are bad, but it is very difficult to actually apply your mind and say, okay, why are things bad? What needs to be done? And this is where FDR's strength is. We are not actively on the streets every time raising our decibels, raising our voices, is because we spend that energy and that time channelizing, our thoughts better and coming up with solutions. Because FDR believes in a non-disruptive approach, amplify it.
One sec. Again, a very big English word.
Sorry.
What does non-disruptive reform? Have you talked about it, also sort of try and explain?
Okay, to answer your question, what non-disruptive means, I'll pick healthcare again as an example. It is about leveraging what is good. Let's say the systems level. If we know that we want to come up with a better healthcare delivery model, we won't say that, okay, shut down all PHCs, shut down all your government hospitals. We will pick up the elements that are working well in those sectors and build on those, right? And when we see that, okay, there is a potential of doing something, how do you leverage that potential? So that is what non-disruptive is for you.
Yeah. How do we make these people think then? If the idea is that the goal is to make them think and see the problem as we are seeing and see the solution that we are seeing, how does that work?
As I said, that when you pick your issue and you limit to a few things that you want to talk about, and yes, the decision makers they weigh their options, right? So for example, when the CM's meeting happened, of the 3 issues that we discussed, one reform agenda was picked instantly, but reforms that are harder to achieve, and I think when Dr. JP says that a reformer needs infinite patience, this is one example, right? You have to pursue that reform. Maybe somewhere, sometime, someday it would happen.
Incentives are aligned for stakeholders, right? Big English words. Sort of, if you could deconstruct, what does that mean?
Vritti has a certain goal, Aditya has a certain goal, Akshat has a certain goal. Now, how do you ensure that Vritti's goals and our goals have some sort of a meeting point? And once that happens, then it's easy to sort of go after it, because you know that we will also focus our energies on it so that we achieve the common goal.
So the assumption is, if you talk about non-disruptive, it means public opinion has to be on your side. Otherwise, it's disruptive, right? If you're against the public opinion, it's disruptive, something that you're suggesting. They have to, it's public policy think tank. You need sort of popular support. And we said we have to maximize incentives, right? So people can incentive also, we have to maximize. You have to think of what people want. Why would people support us? Do we do that? And how do we do that? I think what we do, and what I think is a great strategy, is we talk directly to people, right? I think the videos that come out on our YouTube channel, with a brilliant media team handling it, a 4-5 member team, the organization speaks directly to the people through a face that is reliable, through a face that is credible, and through a face which they can be assured of is not lying, is not cooking up stories. I think that is a major bit of how we shape public opinions and how we ensure that our reforms are not non-disruptive.
So there is this quote by Gilbert Holland, I think, we can check up later, which goes, God give us men, tall men, sun-crowned, who can live above the fog. So what does it mean? As a serious policy reformer, you have to rise above that chaos, above that fog, above that fray, and pick the relevant issue and communicate that to your audience. Here you're asking about how we communicate it to the public. If you go to the public and say that, oh, okay, this is bad, India is now going to the dogs, and Trump is such a bad fellow, and nothing else can happen now. Tomorrow it will pick another country and maybe occupy that country. Oh, okay, AI is just too bad, it will replace all human jobs. Are we contributing meaningfully to the discourse? Right. So you have to remind yourself that you are a serious policy reformer. Yes, you acknowledge that there is a problem, but when you go to the public and when you talk about it, picking up from that phrase, rise above the fog, you have to maintain that calm and that composure and communicate to your audiences that, okay, this is the issue at hand, this is something that is wrong, but contextualize it, and then present in a manner that doesn't sound pessimistic, but that leads your audiences to start thinking in a certain way, which is that certain way a solution to that.